So as per day one, we have a poll. So maybe take some time to fill it up.
Hey, Albert. Welcome back, everyone. Today we have Albert here today.
Hey, Frank.
Albert is also one of our senior mentors who's going to be a major part of the next cohort, leading another parallel cohort. How's everybody sits today?
I would say something, may I?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Please. Yeah.
It was very different than yesterday's, because yesterday I was just like, the only task, so to speak, was just focusing on posture, and I kind of thought I had figured that out, so to speak. So there wasn't really anything where my mind was going to. It was just peaceful. And today I was thinking about yesterday, because all the things Khan said at the beginning that we shouldn't do, or that maybe show a lack of fitness, I reflected on whether they were present in me, and it kind of touched my pride. Like, I was thinking, oh no, all of those don't apply to me. And then as I was sitting, I was reflecting back if that's not actually also a bit of an arrogant attitude to just assume that. So yeah, that was my sit, just reflecting on that, and coming back to good posture, and just being neutral, so to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you. This new, the word neutral is actually interesting. I think we do spend quite a bit of time talking about good, bad neutrality as well. I mean, if you don't mind me asking, then how do you experience neutrality?
Well, for me, what I just meant was that I don't exempt myself from, wanting to, like, reflecting on where the mind is going. Even the fact that my pride is being hit by what was said kind of points to something, I would say. So, like, me becoming defensive probably wouldn't happen if there wasn't anything that would hit home, so to speak. So staying neutral is just detaching from that and reflecting, well, without any judgment on what is good or bad, just staying present, just sitting through it.
It's almost like so whatever that is coming up, be it the sense of defensiveness, arrogance, there is a contact, because you also mentioned detaching from it as well. So I think there is a sort of difference. I mean, we are not trying to like tie any meaning to words here, but obviously sometimes, like we mentioned yesterday, it's also hard to sometimes fully encapsulate, our experience in words in that sense. Yeah, I guess the the sense of subtle, even that subtle energy of like detaching versus staying in contact. I'm not saying that you're doing either or neither, because well, just a point for you to kind of contemplate on, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Jace. I'll say the word equilibrium. When it comes to my mind, I think of finding that balance between dissociating and overindulging, I guess. Like there's a fine balance between just like zoom back, and then just creating this other sense of witness and just try not to feel anything, so to speak, and then calling that neutral versus like, oh, just going in there and staying with it, trying really hard to stay with the contact. Maybe that's the other side of that extreme. It's like how much are you I guess over associating with the contact versus dissociating. Yeah, because a lot of the time I think we think we're being neutral. Is that really a perfect midway point, or is this something beyond but includes two sides of the extreme, like contraction versus expansion, like over associating? I say, oh, I gotta feel the contact, so let's feel every single sensation, every single particle of the contact, versus like let's just dissociate and just like
Sometimes it's just
zoom out.
like a calibration. It almost feels like you're just shifting in and out, in and out, in and out kind of thing. Like, it's never really completely still in that sense. But even that is fine, right? That sense of keep. And I think that for most of us to be practicing, actually, calibration is a huge part of it. It's almost like you can't know what is the correct point unless you are navigating and actually transversing and calibrating all the time.
Yeah, I like that word, recalibration. Because so what is neutral? What is even associating, dissociating? Those continuously recalibrate. Yeah. Depending on a lot of different factors.
Are you trying to calibrate with the it's kind of just an idea that popped up with the ontological structure? Is that maybe where the flow comes in? Like of your environment?
What do you mean by ontological structure in this context?
Here's just a weird idea, or not weird idea, but like I feel like when you're calibrating, you're looking to calibrate to something, right?
To
You're trying to
something.
measure up to something. And I think that something is what is the flow of the environment? What is the optimal performance you can have for the environment you're in? Potentially.
I mean, I guess even that is a yogic
it's a yogic sensitivity.
Yeah,
It's a kind of a sensitivity. It's really hard to explain.
Yeah.
It's because like whatever
the
you're trying to measure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like whatever you're trying to measure against that's also changing. So if you're observing something, that which is observed is constantly also changing. So you're constantly recalibrating both.
Yeah, like what if you're calibrating to is boundless? I think that can be scary for some people. But usually we do have a certain calibration range. But I guess the sense is also that as your yogic fitness become more and more, you realize that your calibration range can become more and more infinite or less defined.
Less defined, but at the same time more refined, like the subtlety of it. Yeah. It's almost like you can take in more data and then recalibrate to what is equilibrium in this moment. Like what is that perfect balance between, but beyond two extreme views or two extreme states, whatever the case may be.
Actually, today was interesting for me because I mean, even talking about that sense of neutrality, I was thinking about what So the thing is that well, truth be told, I don't really enjoy being like a face of CC or like leading discussions. It's just like work. Like, so, and I think the thing about training in CC is that there's nowhere to hide. You know, what you resist was going to like come into a very obvious space as long as you are training in CC. So Khan was telling me that, so he was telling me that I want you to be nervous. And that was interesting for me. It's like, you want me to be nervous? Like, what if I'm nervous all the time? You just don't know that. And I was just feeling into that. And so we were like, even now, I could just sense the nervous energy in me. And I've been, in a way, kind of playing with it because today's theme is contact, right? And so I was just sensing like, okay, is there nervous energy here? And what does it mean to then be in contact or in equilibrium with nervousness? Right? And even that sense of being, and when we were talking about, Khan was talking about like, oh, are we like fawning, like really going close? Or like, are we trying to detach from it? And how we could also practice is that I was purposely going close. And then I was then what it means by detaching. And so I guess that's what I mean by calibration as well, because sometimes how do you know how to calibrate unless you actually play with the experience itself? So I think even practice is kind of opening up a space, not just to be in equilibrium, but to push yourself to those, in a way, I could say extremes sometimes, just to be able to then navigate calibration. Yeah.
I think that when we speak about calibration, I think here's the point where the great masters speak about compassion, because I think that well, things have no basis, no center, everything is interdependent. So what would be the best criteria to quote unquote calibrate? So I think that's one of the answers, the ways that they arrive at compassion in an intellectual level, because there's a more subtle level of compassion that is like the other side of awareness itself, quote unquote awareness. But on a more superficial level, more intellectual one, I think this is where we can truly get into compassion. Because often the best criteria to regulate our interpretations, if we are ruminating too much or too little, is compassion. What would be more adequate in the situation? I think the best criteria would be that.
Mm.
And I mean, when I speak about compassion, I'm talking about a more holistic approach towards yourself and others, not making any distinction.
You know, when I heard you say compassion versus what Jace was saying, it's like the nervousness that Jace is feeling, how you relate to that nervousness is also a sign of compassion. Like, how do you want to get rid of the nervousness or make it into a thing?
I think that depends on the lenses that you're using, because you could interpret a nervousness also as compassion. Because why you're nervous? Because you're trying to control the situation to get the best outcome of it. But when you switch to that lens, the nervousness becomes more acceptable you will get more comfortable with it, and this may also lead to equanimity to the situation itself.
Yeah, it's part of the
Mm.
routing.
Mhm.
Definitely like one of the ways you could route. I mean, certainly if you are able to hold, I don't know, fear, nervousness, anger, just the ability to hold itself, it's I guess a certain level of compassion is needed, right? To say that is to not
Mm.
actually want to push it away in that
Mm.
sense. But even that, I guess, is also a calibration practice. I feel like you constantly need to, be
It,
like,
it, it almost reminds me of holding a baby. You don't want to squeeze it too hard, but neither do you want to just leave it on the sidewalk crying, right? Like how do you hold a baby?
yeah.
It's a constant
Mm.
process of recalibration. Like what does a baby need in this particular moment versus like your touch to it, your feeling, emotional tones to it, your contact to it.
Mm.
Have you ever experienced like where a nervousness or anxiety kind of like pushes you to action? I found a really interesting, I guess, sense of flow with that, where like my experience didn't turn out bad. I was just like so, I guess it's like panic almost, but
Mhm.
yeah, maybe there's something there.
Yeah, it's just interesting because when we talk about contact leads to either reacting to it, neutral or positive, negative, and then that leads to volition, to action. So the action that's coming from contact, like for example, in this case of nervousness, your relationship to it will change what kind of action's been manifest out of it. So that there's a skill right there in terms of like if you are able to find the equilibrium or the middle way contact, neither squeezing too hard nor dissociating, then your action that comes from there would be, I guess, wiser in a sense.
Mm.
Because if you just squeeze it too hard, then what
Yeah.
kind of action would that lead to? Versus if you just dissociate, and then what kind of action would that lead to? And
Yeah, I
that
think when
action
you
will further
squeeze,
compound. No, sorry.
oh, sorry, my bad.
Yeah, that's okay.
I think
I
if
was
you
just
squeeze
gonna
too
say,
hard when you're nervous.
I was gonna say, yeah,
Sorry, go
you
ahead.
squeeze too hard, and that leads to certain kind of action, right? And versus if you just don't care, and what kind of action or inaction does that lead to? And then that's right view leading to right or right effort or right action. Right? This the right action is not like, oh, this is the right way to do it versus the wrong way. Like we say, it's all
Yeah.
in a constant state of recalibration. So right
So it's
action, right.
almost like even, no, go ahead, finish.
No, you go ahead. I was just gonna say the right action in our context is not like right or wrong, or even like, oh, okay, listen, the middle way is just somewhere in between. It's like going
Yeah.
beyond to
So it's
extreme, but inclusive of it.
almost like even squeezing can also serve its function. So if you're so comfortable with your squeezing or like, then it becomes a skill that can be deployed rather than a coping mechanism that is a reaction.
Mm,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, Jace. It's not even about the squeezing per se, because you
mm,
can squeeze or you don't have to squeeze, but it's about the purity of where that squeeze comes from. Because it's not like squeezing is wrong or not wrong.
yeah.
And
Just
I agree. Squeezing isn't wrong, nor is hard, nor is pushing. All of it is a way of relating with sensation, attention, and sensation. That relationship is patternless.
mm,
That's where it becomes difficult if we're just trying to apply a pattern, right? That's why we just stay with the contact and sensation and don't even try to bring stories into it. Because as soon as you do, then it's already you're top downing a sensation. You have to meet it. And then it's like, what does it want? Um, anyways,
mhm,
Jace, I was thinking, or Frank, what you said about the baby, it's like everything in Dharma comes down to how you hold phenomena,
mhm,
our fundamental relationship with phenomena. And then when you're talking about dissociating, or moving really close. It's funny how even those have some strategy to it to get some result, or it already has a pre-conceptual structure at play. Yeah. What is sensation?
It's like it's constant
Actually,
dance with phenomena. I was gonna say dharma, but phenomenon just means dharma. Like all what is sensation?
yeah.
It's why I like to hang out with men in CC. They can go hard and they can go soft.
Well, you have to.
Yeah.
I mean, you need range as a man. You can't just be
Yeah, of
soft all the
course.
time. Women won't like that. But you
Yeah, look
can't
at
be
that.
hard all the
It can't
time
be hard
either.
all the time either.
Can't be
No,
hard
you
all the
need to
time.
be able to
Exactly.
play both in a way that's novel and non-patterned, so it's mysterious. But that's actually how you relate to sensation too. You give it consistency as it's required, or you give it novelty. You have to play. But that's difficult to learn if you aren't just with it.
Mm.
Every sensation, pain, pleasure, doesn't matter. I think
In
that's
CC, we like to say that everything is relating. Okay, whatever you learn is no difference when it comes to relating in life.
yeah, because it's that contact, right? If you can understand that fundamental contact and stay on that spot and relate properly, well, that's theoretically, as someone said, is everything. Is that contact. We're always at the contact. I hope, unless we're dead.
From my experience, I was definitely noticing just trying to get it right always, just always trying to get it right. Trying to get it right and trying to notice everything or trying to figure it out, being confused, being frustrated. And I noticed that the getting it right, the fawning, the fighting, the fleeing, all of the F's. I noticed all of them. Well, I think I noticed all of them. And that it's all just related to like, okay, on a deeper level that I'm not always aware of, is I'm trying to get something out of this. I'm trying to squeeze something out of this because there's like this misunderstanding that I need something, I need an experience, or I need something to get something. It's like this fundamental misunderstanding. I'm incomplete. This moment or situation is incomplete. Everything is wrong. I'm wrong, and that I need to. That something can actually be harvested, and actually give something to me, and it's false, and I'm trying to get something. So it seems like everything is just kind of related to that, where I'm just trying to get something from something, whether it's like, yeah, if I can only get it right, then I'll have it. If I can get it right, if I can figure it out, I'll have it. If I can remember the words, if I can get the perfect instruction, if I can get the perfect recipe, then I'll have it, and then I'll be complete. Like everything will be right. And it's just noticing that, how, and like, there's like this sadness and frustration and anger because I just need it. I just need to get it. I just need to have it, and I can't because something's in my way. Either I don't understand what's going on, I don't remember what the words were, I can't do it right, I don't have the proper circumstance. And this is all going through as I'm just sitting there and I'm noticing that I'm noticing. And similarly with what Frank was saying, like finding that balance of like, what is that? Like, being aware, I lost it. The balance of like how soft or how like, you know, just how to hold the baby, basically what he was saying, like that analogy. Yeah. Anyway, that's all I got.
Thank you, Sama.
Thank you, Smart.
you.
I really like that sharing. It's like you're seeing the recalibration happening in real time. What you just shared. It's like, okay, there's something here. That's why I'm here meditating, so I'm trying to get something. Sure, that's okay, right? Then you realize is that there's a grasping of the mind to, oh, this moment is not enough. But then that you kind of recalibrate. But then where is that balance between, okay, there is something more to see here. There's more recognition, more resting, sure. But then you recalibrate instead of, it's hard to say, but the first thing that popped in my mind was when you said that is, what is, there's a gap between letting go and letting go of letting go that gets collapsed when the calibration clicks. Because when you're trying to let go, that means like there is something that's kind of dissatisfactory in this moment. Even trying to let go is a sign that of this moment, it should be something else. I should let go of something, or I should like penetrate something, either one of those things, right? But then there's another space where you let go of even letting go. But then it doesn't just end there, right? Because that becomes the new, for lack of a better word in this context of discussion, the equilibrium. But the equilibrium is also related to or codependent arising with whatever is going to come next or whatever is happening before that. And you, it's the fitness to constantly just stay with that phenomenon, recalibrating, calibrating. But then it sounds like, oh, this is so much to like to do or so much to see. But it honestly just takes reps a lot of the times, and then just recognizing that is what your mind is doing, and then it's just kind of the clicking between like let go, letting go, let go of letting go. It just collapses, and it's like every single moment just kind of spontaneously calibrating to the course of the least resistance. But then, of course, resistance is okay as part of that too, right? It's like, oh, you resist, and do you not resist the resistance? That kind of thing. You resist, but then you see, oh, I don't resist resistance. Right there is a recalibration.
I have something to say to that, but maybe I think Albert has something to say. Maybe, well, Albert, you see if you have something to say to that. Albert is actually our like basic cohort teacher, and we'll be leading the 7 basic cohort in Cohort 7.
You know, I was thinking when Samara, right? Is that her name? When she was talking, it's kind of like food. If you just eaten shit food your life, you don't actually know what nourishment is like. And to actually receive your like actual experience and receive the what's going on, and then we just want more. Give me more, more. It has to be. So there's that mind that does that, but learning to just let life nourish you actually, like let what's going on in and nourish and deeply experience and feel and make contact. And in a real sense, milk it. Like even if you're suffering, to really let it inform you of what it needs to, or joy, or any kind of experience. Like kind of in some sense, it's the opposite vector of detachment. It's really letting it in. That's how you get nourishment, and that's how you get full. I think that's what I wanted to say to you. It's kind of like you have a small mouth and you're just getting bites, little pieces, and you're just like, not enough. You have to just literally open and receive. Anyways, that's it, Jace. That's
It's great.
During my meditation, I felt, oh, sorry. I felt a big aversion
Carl,
to
you can go
receiving.
first, and then Antonino, you can speak next. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no problem, no problem.
Wait, should I speak first?
You can go
Maybe
first.
Carl, you can go first, and then after that we will come to you.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, speaking on what Albert said, the receiving seems to be like a theme that's been going on for me this week, and I noticed that during the meditation there was a big aversion to receiving. And at some point I felt like everybody's presence here in my heart was like, it felt like more boundless, but then that felt scary because I was like, I don't think I'm used to feeling so much because I've detached so much. So the feeling was like scary, and I felt myself sweating, but it was also like a good feeling. It was like a good sensation at the same time. Yeah, I guess just playing with the balance, like you were saying, Jace. It's like kind of like coming in and coming out, coming in and coming out.
Yeah. This is so interesting that even feeling good can be scary.
And it's also interesting, feeling bad could also not be so painful. Right?
It can be comfortable. Feeling bad can be comfortable.
Yeah, feeling bad
Yeah.
could be. And this is how you relate to it, exactly. It's like, what does feeling good even mean? What does feeling bad even mean?
Yeah. Thank you, Kali.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
my question and kind of what I wanted to reflect on is regards views, work views, how that changes. So I don't understand completely what it is about, but I would like to kind of talk maybe some experiences that I've had that was similar to this. So by meditating, sometimes I felt that I was very clingy to change, with some new experiences, like, wow, this is a crazy thing that happened to me. But I feel like there were some small moments that I remember that are a bit more, maybe they make me think that's kind of a changing view. Like maybe a pleasing one was when I went to a temple here in Italy, and I meditated for many days. And then after one point, I was doing some self-inquiry, and I felt like I did not have an ego. I really, really felt it for some time, 5-10 minutes. And maybe that changed my perception of myself. Like it was pretty continuous. But the more recent ones are one that I had at the start of this year. I was practicing, sadly, like the last two were, I don't know if these are changes in view, but they were kind of like shattering. That's how it felt. Like it felt like something really shattered. So the first one was about, maybe death and impermanence. So maybe sometimes when I meditate, you have some positive feelings, but sometimes, like I feel this impermanence, and the sense of my life kind of changes because many times you live thinking you have all the time in the world, you have time to do everything, you're gonna live forever, you're young. But then meditating, you realize you're very also fragile, impermanent. But that's something that comes and then goes away, and then you go back to living with at least me living like I can live forever. But this one time I was I was very absorbed in that period, maybe much more than now. I think I was meditating very constantly, And I was in this spa for many hours, and I felt really, really, really absorbed. So it kind of, I was having kind of a plateau of attention and fleeting sensations. But then I remember sitting, and seeing a lot of old people, tired. I mean, relaxed but tired. But looking at them, I just had this very, very, very strong realization about impermanence and death. And I feel like from that moment on, like whether I wanted it or not, I don't think I won't call that dark night or anything, but that's maybe like how it felt like. I could not just go back anymore, and I had to kind of process this new thing. But it was weird because at that moment, like I was feeling so good, and then all of a sudden, I felt like a very, very powerful sense of fear. Like there was maybe an animal that was about to kill me. That's how it felt like. And the most recent one, was from 1 month ago. It was heartbreak, real heartbreak, right? And I thought I already experienced it, but this time I realized that it was the real deal, because kinda felt maybe even more powerful. Like I don't even know how that is. It felt like even though my field of experience is the same, like for example, now after 1 month, I'm starting to feel again like as I felt before, but there's still something different. And also maybe today, sitting here meditating, like I started meditating like 1 week ago, because for the last 3 weeks I did not have really the willpower to meditate and to really, really stay in contact with this pain. I felt it, but I didn't have the strength to do it. But today I feel like I could meditate and just connect again with myself.
Thank you. So I think there is a theme of like impermanence and the sense of change, the sense of different experiences that encapsulates actually a different phase of your practice. And sometimes I'm not sure if I'm interpreting it correctly. Like maybe sometimes there is maybe uncertainty of like what that means in terms of view or
Yes.
where you're at. Hmm.
Yes, I would like to understand this change of view, because I don't know how often it would happen, because in a way, like it feels like meditating feels like I'm having progress, but at the same time it really feels like I'm the same person.
Mm.
And I don't know how I should have a relationship with that. Maybe I am not open enough to changing who I am, or maybe I am. I don't really understand this.
You already said it, the relationship part. It's like you got to go live life to test it. Then you know what your view is. This one. And I think that, I mean, another thing about also understanding our experiences, I guess it's also part of the training in CC, is that as we go through the training, we also start to build up more what I would call realization literacy or vocabulary to kind of, I know now we talk a lot about like, not have too much meaning to things, but at the same time, there is also a vocabulary around that sense of understanding our experiences and phenomena of our experiences. So that can also help clarify view at times, and it's very much part of what we do in CC as well, because we also have like a lot of scholarly studies, and of course our discussion. We start to build up certain vocabulary in understanding how to kind of have a certain view towards these changes in our experiences. So that's one. But yeah, but fundamentally, like you said, how do I know if I change as a person, you got to live life as well, which is also part of what we do in encouraging that for everybody when you're in CC, that we don't just sit on the cushion. Like in the end, we also talk a lot about life and what it means to be so-called realizing something. But in the end, do we have the courage to bring that into life? Because like what some of you might have experienced already, even certain things, I'm just sitting on the cushion can feel scary. What's more if you want to bring that kind of attitude into life? I'm not sure if that answers that. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And
Hello.
Damari, I think, yeah.
I'm very nervous because I don't speak very well English, so I hope maybe you understand. For me, the experience, it was very similar to Samar. I can see my lack of fitness. It was like I can see the range of the dance of different patterns that play in the sensation, in the tension in the body, and how I feel or relate with the sensation. I don't put labels to the feelings, but I feel how is going in the feeling and trying to change it or resist it. Like I can see that movement. I feel like always it was like waves of different sensation, even the peaceful, the boundless, the silence, the transparent. I feel a quite spectrum, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like everything is just contact, right? Like in the end, it's no, I would even go to the extent of saying that everything can be translated into some kind of bodily sensations. And even that sense of different, like you're saying, like as if he's feeling different weights or different resistance, or I don't know if you use those words, but I think, like I think a huge number of us actually do weights training in CC. But precisely, we like to like draw parallel to like the sense of fitness. Like so to us, like physical fitness and realization fitness, this is actually no different. Because and the kind of exertion that we do when we are like lifting weights is almost like the same as when we are just sitting here lifting the weights of our emotions or fluctuations and all the things that we are going through. And so it's actually taxing. It's technically assertion as well, as we're sitting there doing that. So yeah, so good practice.
Yes, I noticed
Yeah.
also the feeling, or no, what is the word? I forget. The capacity to be with what is in the moment, with the attitude to receive it. I notice how change the relationship with what is appearing when I put this attitude. I don't know if it's the word, but to embrace it. That.
Yeah. It's yeah, I guess so I think it was something that came to mind as well when I was listening to Sama. And now I guess because you're saying it again, it seems like there's that common theme of because how I would like to describe it is why I wrote a dissertation in the last cohort about masculine and feminine. And so technically, if we really want to break down that energy, is also like what Frank mentioned about the sense of penetration. It's like a lot of times we are seeking something, so we are trying to penetrate a certain experience. And then when we try to flip it as the idea of being able to receive, it becomes a feminine, allowing to like come to us and allow ourselves to receive. It's kind of like a feminine energy. So it's kind of interesting actually, for me, I actually break it down in this way to kind of have that sense of balance of how that masculine and feminine energy actually interplay as I practice, which is technically a sense of giving and receiving, penetrating and resting. So it's all something that we can kind of play, and neither is good or bad, but it's just something that we can notice and kind of play with that energy. I'm sure if Albert has something to say to that.
Or do I have something to say? What are you talking about?
I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know. Or Frank.
No, I just really like the when you say resting, whether you're penetrating or it's the other way. Penetration and exertion. It's like lifting, right? It's just like there's so many different factors that works in terms of analogies. Like when you down the eccentric movement, you kind of just let go of the weights and you push up. Even just like that one set, you go through cycles and cycles of that penetration versus receiving, penetration versus. But then can you rest and see the? I guess one way to describe equilibrium is just to see the lack of inherent existence in both compounded phenomena and uncompounded phenomena, in both receiving and penetration. Because if you verify one side over the other, then there's a tendency for the mind to want to, okay, I want to exert more versus I want to receive more.
They kind of play into each other, right?
Yeah,
Frank?
that is also relating. The extension relates to the contraction, and if you rest as both, yeah, and then it's not like resting is like a separate state from. It's not like okay, here's exertion or here's like penetration, here's receiving, and then there's like a resting, which is somehow apart from these two states. The resting is almost like disappearing into either side, and it's hard to describe because once you put it in a word to it, even equilibrium or even I just said disappearance, immediately your mind creates some kind of a new reference, which is okay too. But then you just see that reference as part of the recalibration, not like, oh, now this is the state. Because a lot of times it can also be a sense of a clinging to find that rest. We're like, oh, let's force this rest, or like, oh,
yeah. I guess it's just being at ease with that interplay of that different energy, knowing that it's constantly changing and interplaying anyway. Yeah. I think there's some questions. I don't know if on the chat.
Yeah.
So much things I'm not paying attention.
Yeah, there's been a lot of questions about what sensation is. Yeah.
Okay.
We could switch to the topic of the markers of progress on the path. Albert answered it, but maybe he could expound a little bit more on it.
Okay, it's very simple. Ultimately, the path is determined by your aspiration. But if you want to just get real simple, is that you're either suffering or you're not. And you don't really need to know what suffering is. You know suffering. Everyone knows suffering. You wouldn't be here if you weren't suffering. So since you're suffering, we can just admit that we have the 5 poisons. So the marker on the path is simply, well, a reduction, measurable reduction of our suffering and our afflictions. It's that simple. And that's the baseline when it comes to most Dharma and spirituality. Everything else is like whatever. But the questioner asked me specifically about equanimity, and that ultimately depends too. And Ben talked about kind of full consciousness. So it's a specific view that people have that you can just be in a state of consciousness permanently. And all I can say to that is that sure, if that's what you want, why not? It would just require you to suffer tremendously, like consciously. Because the reason why you're not in full awareness all the time is because you're distracted into habit. You are an instinctual animal that is reactive, that in some sense, if you really watch yourself, it's like, I don't make most of the decisions I do. Like, I don't beat my heart. I don't move my blood. To be conscious means you can beat your own heart. You can make all the involuntary voluntary. To do that as a sentient being would require tremendous struggling against yourself. Tremendous. And if you can do that, if you can learn to do that, to harness suffering as the means of your growth, yeah, you can grow consciousness beyond even being this instinctual being that we are. It's a struggle. There's no way around it. And if anyone says otherwise, they're full of shit, really. Because if you try to change any habit, like if I'm a smoker and if I decide I want to stop smoking, that's gonna be a hell of a week. And to do so requires tremendous consciousness, not in an as abstract spiritual sense, but like paying the fuck attention, right? In a real way. It's just like training in any sense, or learning a craft, or learning music, learning art. Like it's not simple, it's struggle. And to authentically struggle against all our habits is how you want to grow consciousness. Now, that's just one aspiration and path and goal. I don't even personally even agree with that goal, but it is definitely an axis of development one could have on the path, so to speak. Tom says authenticity, being yourself. Well, also insanely difficult because we are culturally, socially conditioned to be everything but ourselves. Those are a lot of fucking habits, man, that our teachers given us, that spiritual communities have given us, that YouTubers have given us, that me or anyone else here will give you. How can you, with that knowledge and discern, be yourself? That's a tremendous struggle at first. So all I see is struggle. And then the only struggle's only useful insofar as we move into it consciously. That's like the only thing I would have to say to that. I don't know if that actually answers your question, Ben, but it seems like, yeah, basically you have to keep practicing. There's no way around it. So, does that answer? Let's see. Yeah, so in short, you would suffer less. And you know, there's no one needs to confirm that for you in regards to if generally, but if you want to grow something, then you would have to suffer more. Yeah. I don't know if that makes any sense. Those are two fucking contradictory statements, but this is the nature of growth.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it does make sense.
Makes sense. Yeah, I think after a certain point, it's not like there's less suffering, but it doesn't mean there is less contentment for pain, maybe, or
Mm.
contractions or resistance.
And sometimes it looks like less sufferings, but it's just that maybe your container for sufferings have increased.
Yeah, your capacity have increased.
Yeah.
And sometimes the more your capacity increased, the more sensitive you are to a lot of these resistance or those patterns that you're continuously trying to repattern. Yeah, in CC, we don't really like the word dissolving that much, and I used to talk about dissolving a lot. It's like dissolving the last speck of this and that. I don't really use that kind of language anymore. It's more like repatterning, refragmenting. Because then if you dissolve, if you have a view that you gonna have to completely dissolve your conditioning, then it's gonna be that. It's just gonna be endlessly dissolving conditioning without understanding the nature of a phenomenon. Like, for example, the inquiry. If you're dissolving something, what are you using to dissolving that? And if you dissolve something, sure, there can be feeling of the solution, but where is that sensation or that contraction, that resistance dissolving to? Are you making whatever is dissolving to into a new thing? And then you have to dissolve that view, for example. Right? That's an example of like view refinement and recalibration also goes hand in hand. It's like in spirituality, we say, oh, let's just be authentic, let's be ourselves. And then you hear about all this non-dual teaching. Oh, the most authentic self is actually no self. And then you're trying to create a no self, just like trying to make the rest into a thing. And then there's resistance if you're not in that state. Then how do you continuously recalibrate?
I don't know if you want to go deeper into what authenticity could mean. Because maybe it's like being authentically be able to, yeah, sure, express yourself, like if you're feeling repressed in a certain way, or like if you're trying to create something that might be disruptive. That could be where struggling to be authentic could be coming from. I don't know, just feel like that's another pretty big topic.
Oh, well,
I
if I were
think
to
that
sum up,
sorry.
who's speaking? Sorry.
I'll just make a brief comment. Uh, Pernilla, the YouTuber from the Awakening Curriculum, she has an excellent series of videos about calibrating between the ego and the authentic, being right in the middle spot. I think that everyone here would benefit so much on watching Pernilla's videos about that topic. She is excellent on that.
Yeah, I find it interesting how we have the separation between ego and authenticity. I think ego might be like, what is this? What is the ontological? I would say like ego is the ontological thing we're trying to adjust to, right? It's this discomfort from getting from society or from our environment. Or maybe internally. And then authentically is, yeah, authenticity is very interesting.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Even that example you just gave, Martheus, like that pole that dance between the ego and authenticity. Like, what is the
I think
relationship between that? And those things constantly recalibrate. What means ego today could mean authenticity in the next moment. And that authenticity, the moment you make into a thing, it becomes the ego.
yeah. And
I
I
think
think
I'm sorry.
I
I'm
was
just
just gonna
going to answer to, sorry.
yeah, maybe you go ahead and finish, and then I will probably wrap up. My job here is to finish on time. Like,
Yes,
so finish what you like to say. Yeah.
I was just going to answer what Frank said. I think in this context, when we speak in ego, we are we are talking about just acting based on the thinking sense, right? And when we are talking about authentic, we are speaking from the feeling, the heart center, you know. So I think in here, when we're speaking about the middle way, it's about just it's the equilibrium between both of them, the thinking mind, the rational mind, and the acting that comes just out from the sensations. That would be the quote unquote authentic, right?
Yeah, if you okay, if the thinking mind, once you contact the thinking mind as from the heart, you could do that actually, right? And in that moment, that recalibrates into authenticity again. Yeah, that's why when we speak about, even in the context of our practice, like feelings, contact, or like the difference between elements, it's like there's no fixed definition of these elements really. There is a relation, right? Because like when we, for example, the first couple of weeks we would practice contact. What exactly is contact, right? And to just as a way to get started, we can say contact is physical sensation, something like a pressure points in the body, the density in the body. But then we're like, oh, we're lost in thought. Now we're not in contact. But wait a minute. Just being lost in thought, in that moment, you recalibrate into the feeling of being lost in thought as your new contact point. And then that becomes not so much being lost in the thought anymore. The thought loops recalibrate to its meaning almost, and how you experience it. And in that moment, the feeling of being lost in the head, actually, if you embrace it, it becomes a heart center practice. You see what I mean there? It's like
Yes.
making that duality between just the heart and the thought is already creating some kind of a reference. But I'm not saying it's not okay to do that. You need some kind of a reference at first, but then you see through to the context of that reference and how it relates to other points in that container. And you continuously self-invalidate
So I
without
have
turning
a feeling,
self-invalidation into a thing. You see what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll kind of invalidate
Yeah.
authenticity. Like authenticity is always gonna be something that like feels good, right? And then ego is always gonna be something that feels bad already, right? Like I don't know,
Really?
maybe some people,
Yeah, right.
maybe
Right
not.
there,
I don't know,
right?
maybe some people feel really, maybe people
Some
feel
people really
authentically
feel really
feel
fucking
right.
good, like tripping on the ego, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, who
exactly.
knows? Who
Like
knows?
there's already
Yeah.
a box there. You immediately put into the ego's feeling
Mhm.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what does feeling bad mean in this context in relation to what the word ego means, right? Let's say
Yeah.
like seeing all this relations dance between references is really the practice, not a particular kind of state
Basic
or
in separation, right? So I
feeling
think
bad also
this will,
depends on feeling good, you know, all that stuff. Sorry.
yeah. No, it's fine. No, I think this is probably going to keep popping up. I mean, even in the days ahead, and then if you're in CC, I think it's like a constant. If there's any theme, like a very consistent theme that I think happens for everybody in CC, is that how do you come as you are? This is what we keep harping about. How do you come as you are? And even the inauthenticity is also coming as you are, if actually that is what you are sensing or recognizing in that point. So
Yeah, okay, that's a
what
good
does
point.
that
And then
mean,
is
right?
that point, is that still inauthentic when you fully accept your inauthenticity? Yeah, that I
Yeah.
get.
So a good thing to ponder about, I guess, and to wrap up for tonight.
We want to get Ben
I
a
think
chance
Ben,
to, yeah, Ben.
yeah,
Yeah, sorry,
1
just a
minute.
quick question for Frank. I
Yeah.
mean, what is a heart center practice?
That also depends, right? Because the heart center, in a way, at first when maybe we just lost in our head and we create a new ground, say let's feel it with our heart.
Mhm.
But that's also arbitrary. That's what I'm saying. There is no heart center in a way. You know, like even the location of a heart center lacks any kind of inherent existence. It could be anywhere.
You could direct it as a practice, but in the end,
Yeah.
you understand that it is your intentionality.
Yeah. I almost want to bring up the word performance with this idea of what ground you're working with, you know, what layer you're working with, like what is the most performant thing for your environment. That's your video about performance really inspired me, so that's something that I really want to.
We could be performers all the
That'd
time.
be interesting.
And
Exactly.
that'll be
we can,
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I just want to highlight the what was posted on the chat. That so for those who are registered here, just understand that there is a intro call. I think we have some secret gifts apparently on Saturday. So if you haven't signed up for the call, it's a separate link. So it's just calling on you guys to register that on that separate link. And I don't know if there's something else that I need to. Oh, and then for those, I don't know. I think some of you have already applied. For whoever that might be interested to apply for the next cohort, I would just really encourage you to not wait too long, because the application process, there's some steps to it that kind of need completion. So if you do think that you have some interest, maybe just apply first. So that's what I want to say. If not, thanks everyone. It's been a great night again. I think it's fun
How do
listening
you
to
apply?
everybody.
I didn't really understand this because I just signed for this 5 days basically.
Oh, okay. Can the one person in admin post something on the chat
To post
for
the
the
link
application
right now. Yeah, I'm trying to post the link right now.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Okay, here. Oh no, this is the free link.
Oh, so someone said that we will send an email to all registrations. Okay. Oh, with the application link as well, I guess. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. And then thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
have a good night or morning or whatever time zone you're in. Right. Thank you. And I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Jason, Albert, and everybody who shows up. Yeah. See you all tomorrow.
Bye.
Goodbye. See you tomorrow.
Goodbye.
So